First order of business is to call this meeting to order. The second is to announce we just had an executive session on July 17th at 6 p.m. to discuss real estate. The next item is to approve the minutes for the July 3rd, 2017 meeting.
I make the motion to approve the minutes from July 3rd, 2017.
I'll second those. Just FYI, David Brown is still on vacation. He's out. He'll be in the next meeting.
Beginning of August, yes.
So we have a motion and a second. Any comments on the minutes? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
The next item is the approval of the bills list. It's rather high tonight. The township bills list is $128,100.87. The reimbursable bills list is $99,315.48. And the subdivision utility plant bills list is $16,543.83. All three combined total $243,960.18. So do I have a motion to approve those?
I make the motion that the board approve the bills list dated July 17th, 2017, in the total amount of $243,960.18.
I'll second. Any questions on the bills list? Any questions on the bills list? Going once? Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thanks for being a good sport, Brian.
Art's not here, no questions from him.
Next item is the authorized advertisement of the floodplain ordinance.
I move,
Well, go ahead, Mike, make a motion.
I move that the board authorize the floodplain ordinance for a public hearing on August 21st.
Second. Erica, this is mandated by the state, I believe, or?
Actually, federal government. Yes, and our solicitor and engineer have been working through this floodplain ordinance revision. West Vincent Township is certainly not the only entity that has to do this. Many municipalities are going through this process. We have been working with a contractor through DCED to have the updates reviewed and then done, and FEMA had done this in accordance with updates to the flood insurance requirements. So what we have before you are the approved changes, and the Planning Commission and our EAC have reviewed this as well. So it's before you this evening. It would have to be authorized for advertisement, and we have, for our guidelines, to have this authorized, advertised, and by September submit all the final documents to FEMA.
And we'll have a public hearing on it on the 21st?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have that covered, Joe?
Yes.
So we have a motion, we have a second. Any questions? Maria?
Is the ordinance on the website for us to look at?
Planning Commission?
It will be, because it was just authorized.
Okay, we'll have it posted here soon.
And could you just give us a brief on what the insurance is, like, what it is?
Well, there are various definitions for the insurance that had to be updated as part of their requirements, their new requirements. It does not change our mapping within the township. It does not change any of the mapping or insurance rates, in particular to any residents within the township. So really, it's a formal process through FEMA that we have to go through. Joe, do you want to add anything to that?
No, that's summarizing.
The reason I'm asking that is, I just found out that, I have property that has a floodplain on it, not in this township, but another township, and I always believed I had to purchase my insurance through FEMA.
Okay.
And you do not have to. You can do it privately, and there is a company that you can do that through ICE. And I now pay 10% of what I used to pay through FEMA. So it was significant. And so if anyone, I would love to share that for people.
Okay.
As long as this ordinance isn't going to prohibit the use of private insurance, and this is a Lloyd's of London policy, at 10% of my FEMA fee.
Okay.
This ordinance will keep your property eligible to be insured privately.
Isn't that, oh, good. As long as it continues to allow private insurance. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next, under new business is we have a repair for the transmission for the 1996 John Deere tractor. Erica, do you want to explain what
Sure,
this is?
okay. Recently, the road crew brought to my attention that the 1996 John Deere tractor transmission had failed. The suggestion moving forward is we have an additional tractor, which is a 2010, and so both of those supplement with mowing of right-of-ways and various other duties. And in looking at really what would be the best to extend the useful life for this tractor would be to have a remanufactured transmission. We have one estimate on that thus far. We have, I think it's just about $15,000. Let's see, I'll get the quote here. We have that in hand, and we are working with other vendors. The issue is, right now, we have it at a John Deere dealership, and we're looking at having this work done, and other dealers really are gonna charge us for additional quotes. So this is the latest on the information that we have thus far. Right now, the impact to our road crew, they're handling what they can. We essentially are just slowed down with operations right now. And so we're looking at the quote we have on hand, I have it right here, $15,527. And that would give us about 10 more years.
Eric and I had a conversation earlier today, and they approached two other firms to bid on it, but they would not give a quote without a fee. So one of the things that would be okay with me is to spend a couple $100 and get another bid on the repair.
Mm-hmm.
Also, some other things just for the audience's benefit. The estimate is that the transmission, if everything else stays whole, would extend the life of approximately 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
The value of the tractor, I went on the internet today, and the value of the tractor in its current condition isn't that high. If it was still working with the transmission, it would be between $15,000 and $19,000 with the hours and the year. It appears on a casual observation that how do I say this? If our tractor's worth $15,000 and we spend $15,000, would it be really worth $30,000? And the answer is yes. It'd be $35,000, I think, for a comparable operating.
In good condition with the repair, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
But I do think it's worth spending a few $100s and taking another couple days or weeks or 2 weeks to get another bid on it to make sure that the $15,000 is.
Is that what they charge, a couple $100?
Yes.
They want to actually, if I understood it correctly, they actually want to pick it up, take it to their shop and look at it.
That's correct. So, yeah, where the tractor's located now, we have to move it so they can do a proper estimate.
That's fine.
So, do we need a motion on this for any reason, Erica, or just open it up for discussion?
You can open up for discussion, that's fine.
Any comments from the audience?
Yes, this is a remanufactured. Have you found or solicited someone who will just sit down and rebuild it?
To rebuild the transmission?
Because it may not need to be a completely remanufactured transmission.
This was a remanufactured.
Yeah, I mean, this would be all new components being the specification of the tractor. So we looked at that, we looked at new transmission. The new transmission, as I'm informed, is not the industry standard, so the remanufactured one is the protocol. So, and it's about $5,000 less.
So nobody has given you a price to sit down and rebuild it themselves?
Not
They're
rebuild
just
it,
going to
no.
take a remanufactured off the shelf and sell it to you for 15.
Right.
That's installed?
Yes,
Right.
And what's the warranty they're going to give you?
1 year.
1 year.
Right.
This tractor, this is the tractor that has the mower attached to it,
Right.
okay? When we purchased the second tractor, I asked about, do we need two of them, because we've been running along fine with just one. And I was told at that time, well, that's a backup tractor, it's backup, we don't really need it. So you're now saying okay, we're not running at full fast because I have 2 tractors, yet before that was supposed to be just the backup on it. So it sounds like, how much does, let's see, how much, we have a tractor and then we've got mower attachments onto it, correct?
Right.
And how much is just the tractor itself valued at right now?
The tractor value, well, without a repair, I would say approximately $8,000 to $10,000.
Okay.
Yeah,
And if we put 15,000 into it, then
right,
we've got another 10 years out of it.
right.
And a new tractor,
Probably over 100,000.
This one, they, in 1996, we paid $70,000.
okay.
And to my understanding, your point is if it's just purely backup and it's sitting in a garage, the transmission wouldn't go bad. It's used
Right.
more frequently than just a backup role.
It is.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Jennifer.
What is this tractor used for?
Mowing of right-of-ways.
Yeah, so the downside to getting another quote is that the right-of-ways aren't mowed, and I know approaching
correct.
South Chester Springs Road is already getting overgrown, and I'm having trouble coming out of it. So I'd appreciate that getting mowed sooner than later, and,
I understand.
you know, so there's a risk in delaying even further during high-growth period.
Maintenance for this type of equipment and vehicles does put a strain, and it puts an immediate delay on some of that. So I definitely understand. We've been on the phone with a lot of vendors,
Well,
so.
safety or
Absolutely,
suffer
yep.
$1,000.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other comments? We do not need to take any action on this, do we?
You could do a contingent on receiving another quote, and if it's lower, proceed, or whatever you like to do. I'm just thinking about some of the time constraint too of the next meeting.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay,
I see the need for that, I see what you're saying. I just
Yeah.
always hate being put in a spot where you have to hurry up and make a decision.
I understand, that's fair.
But, I mean, you are gonna get the other quote.
Mhm.
Right. Okay. So if the other quote is lower, then she'd be able to make the decision to go ahead with that repair. If not, then she'd go with the repair that she has on the front of it.
And what if the one comes in with a 2-year warranty?
No, it will be same apples to apples.
Chances are, it won't, I mean, they won't have that done within 2 weeks, will they? Our next meeting?
Oh, the quote will be done.
Oh, well, okay.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Would you like to? I thought you were gonna make a motion.
All right, I move that the manager, at her discretion, after receiving the second quote, proceed with whichever quote is lower.
Second. I'm just trying to give you a chance to write.
Thank you.
Any
I'll
other
keep you
comments from the
informed.
audience? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Need more time to write it?
Got it. Thank you.
Number 4, vacancy of the zoning hearing board alternate position.
I move to appoint David Niedermeyer to the zoning board, or as zoning board alternate.
Second. Any comments from the audience? Brian,
Who did we lose?
say that again?
Who did we lose that we need to appoint an alternate?
Yeah, Brian O'Reilly.
Brian O'Reilly.
Okay.
I've been on vacation, I didn't realize this was gonna be done tonight. It should be done by resolution.
We do have one here.
They have one?
We do.
Oh, they have, really?
Yeah, we wanted to prep.
Well, then, let's rescind that and do the resolution. Joe, what part of the resolution is you gonna have to read?
You don't have to read it, just pass a resolution appointing them.
Oh,
Okay,
so I moved,
rescind your motion.
I rescind the previous motion.
Okay.
I move to approve resolution 16-2017, appointing David Niedermeyer as zoning board alternate.
Second. Now, Any comments from the audience? Well, David, congratulations. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next is the public comment on non-agenda items. Ron?
I understand there's been discussion with PennDOT about four-way stop sign in Chester Springs and 401, and their response was that would be contingent on opening the road. And I thought this issue was put to bed in like 13, that for a number of reasons the road had to be closed. Is this all back on the table now and in play? And if so, what is the procedure that has to go through? I assume it's just not a simple vote. Wouldn't it have to be back to the initial procedure that
Well,
made
let
this?
me share part of that with you, and then I'll let Joe answer the legal aspects of it. Going back 6, 8 months, almost a year, 3 townships got together and went to PennDOT. Well, we had several meetings, and then we took our thought process to PennDOT to fix or to enhance the safety at Byers Road in 401 and South Chester Springs Road in 401. And after several meetings, we thought they were going to, they actually said at the last meeting we had that they wrote a work order for the improvements at 401 and South Chester Springs Road. And then about 2 weeks ago, approximately 2 weeks ago, we got a letter informing us they would not do those improvements unless we opened up South Chester Springs Road. We told them that was not acceptable. We haven't heard back from them since.
We're not.
That's what I know. The legal issue I believe he's talking about is wherever that road closure came about through a final subdivision plan approval someplace, and how to overcome that if it ever was needed.
Well, it's not a township road right now, right?
It has not been dedicated.
Then it would require a plan amendment,
It would-
a plan amendment. The plan that established that gate would then have to be amended to eliminate the gate.
What if it was dedicated? Because the dedication was
It was
being
slated for-
hurried up to,
Yeah,
and
on
I'm
7th.
surprised it didn't happen.
If it's dedicated, then it's our road and on our property. We can do what we feel is in the best interest and the safety of the motoring public.
What about the prior agreements? There was a conditional use agreement, it wasn't an agreement, an approval, dictating where the gate would go, and there was a lot of wording in there that was also used to get the stone on the culverts about the flavor of Westminster Township, Chester County, and the nature of the road. Through all of this wouldn't be changing.
What's in the actual order?
Well, if I can expand, the 2013 decision is what established the gate at the end of the road. The conditional use approval, the last one that I referenced in March 2002, has several paragraphs that refer to retaining the rural rustic character of the neighborhood. For example, there were not supposed to be any solid concrete canyon-like constructs like what was put in. If they were to put in there, well, they weren't supposed to be canyon-like, but any walls, for example, were supposed, above 5 feet, were supposed to be faced with natural stone, again, to preserve the rural flavor of the site. The conditions, another paragraph states, the conditions were to preserve some kind of historical value for existing residents. So in the conditional use approval, the board and the people going through this process were obviously devastated by the impact of this high-density development, and they wanted to strike a balance with the rural historical character of the neighborhood. So these conditions are important to us, and they should be adhered and followed, just like everything else.
Those paragraphs that you're reading, are they in the actual order of the conditional use?
Yes.
And does anything in that say the gate has to be put up?
No, that was part of the 2013 decision.
The land development decision?
I'm sorry?
The land development decision or the conditional use decision?
No, the 2013 decision by the board.
Oh, just this public meeting decision?
That's right.
Okay, well, that can be changed by the board.
But Jennifer, I think you're missing something. Wasn't there something going back into 2006 era when that final subdivision, that there was that road was first talked about being closed? Wasn't there something way back then?
Well, you should talk to the Riddles and the other people who are have party status. We moved in 2011. And when I purchased my home, I did my homework and due diligence on this development because I saw a lot of at-risk land. And what was told to me by the former owners and the township at the time, that everything that I could see from my property would remain in place. It would not be disturbed. That has not been the case. Fast forward to 2013, and I was not notified of the substantial expansion of this development when there was an exchange of TDRs that allowed that in 2013 by the sale of the former supervisor to Toll Brothers. And further, I also attempted on multiple occasions to be informed by the township of ongoing proceedings, anything that would impact me, and was not. In fact, I couldn't even get on the township email list at the time. I had to go through my own means to be informed. So, these things are very important to us, and they are relevant. So there's a balance here. You know, it's not just a matter of flipping the switch in my mind. There's a lot of legalities involved, specifically related to, the residents on the road. I can appreciate the general interest in the road on the part of other township residents as we collectively pay taxes, and I know it was brought up on the Facebook page of West Vincent Voices this past week. Other occasions, people have tried to chime in about their interest, but I would just convey to the non-residents of the road that there are specific property rights that we are engaging in and looking into that supersede and have greater priority than the general interest of the township. And I certainly appreciate everybody's interest, but I ask that those specific resident rights be respected. And
Is anyone represented by an attorney at this point?
yes.
Yes.
Could you have that attorney send me a letter outlining what your arguments are, and I'll keep an open mind and I'll look it up and see if I agree with them or not.
Yeah,
But if you can send a concise statement saying you can't do it because of this, this, and this, then that focuses in on what I need to say.
Okay. I know he's attempted to communicate and he'd like to talk with you, so.
I believe I spoke to him this afternoon. I believe he was under the impression you were on vacation.
I was this week.
Well, he's tried to touch base with you at least a few times this week.
Nobody got through to me this week.
Okay.
Well, he'll be in touch. We'll let him know.
Yeah, if he can give me your arguments, I can either confirm them or tell you my viewpoint.
But just want to reiterate something. Upper Euclid Township contacted, I believe, Mike Schneider about a year and a half ago, threatening legal actions, and if that didn't work, they were going to close Eagle Farms. They have residents that want to close Eagle Farms Road. They, at the same time or shortly thereafter, West Pikeland had the same issues because of the construction and all the traffic going down there. So they approached us and they said they're under pressure for their residents to close Eagle Farms Road. That was when we decided to get together with the three townships and try to improve the police enforcement. One of the issues was speeds coming down Eagle Farms Road was unacceptable to some residents, and the additional traffic. So what we came up with, which hasn't been finalized totally, was that the Byers Road intersection of 401 would warrant a left-hand going northwestbound and a left-hand turn lane with a traffic light. PennDOT seemed agreeable. It's a very expensive item. I forget the number I heard, $175,000, $200,000 for something like that. At the same time, attempting to address some of the issues with South Chester Springs Road and 401, because that has a whole different set of problems. It's just not at that intersection. Accidents happen northwest and also south of that intersection. And because of the sight lines and because of other, the dip in a road, PennDOT thinks, and our Pannoni, the traffic engineer, thought a four-way stop with motion sensors further down the road saying, blinking light when a car was pulling out or stopped or something would be beneficial. It may not be beneficial. The only way you'll know that is to start counting the traffic accidents after a four-way stop goes in, because it might have just the opposite effect. Did that summarize the?
No.
At that point in time, and that was March, I think, wasn't it? May? That was
The
May
meeting?
and PennDOT?
No, PennDOT May.
They were all in favor of this, so I have no idea what changed, but it's back in their court.
I'm confused with all the discussions that have happened with this. I think it was the traffic report that said when everything was said and done, if the road was open, it really wouldn't change the volume of traffic that much on South Chester Springs Road. Of course, then...
Now, if the gate was open, I think the additional traffic, as I recall, would be 15 additional cars going up the road. It was very light.
A day.
I believe it.
Imagine.
Then
It's been months since I read the report, but it was
I'm the same way, but I mean, if that's the case, why open? And if it's not the case, then it's going to be heavy volume. Again, the weakest link on 401 is the intersection at South Chester Springs Road.
There's a couple of reasons why. We continue to get complaints about trash trucks that can't go down that road without backing up. We do get reports of tractor trailers trying to make it through GPS and coming down a road that they can't make it. We have our police department and the fire department telling us that with that gate closed, it impedes that they are recommending that it's be open. We haven't gotten there yet, but there are other thought processes that go to that, Ron.
Well, there's other alternatives that haven't even been researched as to a legitimate turnaround. I know we've discussed the whole width thing. It was discussed, has anybody approached the McHughes of purchasing some of their land?
No.
Because it's a corner that they never touch.
We're meeting with Tammy McHugh tomorrow, and it's,
Say that again?
we're meeting with Tammy McHugh tomorrow night.
I'm sorry, you're meeting with her.
Tammy McHugh.
Tammy McHugh, who lives in
Okay.
the old Skate Hill property, and there might be an opportunity there for additional room. But the mistakes made in establishing the gate and a proper turnaround isn't our issue. That's a byproduct of a lot of mistakes and missteps. So, and the fact that emergency vehicles, I'll just address some of the things. Emergency vehicles trying to get through, first of all, we've been serviced for...
It's already happened.
Well, I know it actually happened because I burnt a pizza last Christmas. Fire department by Ludwig's was there in less than 5 minutes before I could even get in the phone and figure out what's happening. So they serviced us. To say that we need to be serviced by all the other existing townships.
It was Ludwig's Corner that contacted me.
They were there in less than 5 minutes. And up until now, because of the Eagle development, the fire station phase 2 development and phase 1, you're saying now we need additional emergency access. So that logic doesn't work with me. We've had emergency service all the way through this development. So we've been fine. Everybody's fine. We get response times that are perfectly suitable. So to use that justification just doesn't work for me. As far as other township residents and their complaints about the road being closed, feeling that they're being infringed upon and their roads are being more pressured, well, when development plans, my understanding, when development plans go into place, it begins with notification. Based on West Vincent, there's a 500-foot ordinance to say you need to notify adjoining property owners. That's the very first step. And why? Because those property owners are going to be impacted by the development. Then that sets off a series of processes that results in plans and agreements and conditional approvals that we're dealing with today. So our properties were part of that process, which resulted in the conditional use approvals, which resulted in the 2013 decision. So because others, and say, for example, Twin Hills, are upset that they were asleep at the wheel, I can't even believe that they didn't think that that land was going to be developed, particularly with the Toll Brothers trailers parked there for years. But they're not adjoining property owners. I don't know what Upper Euclid's Township ordinance is, so that's not relevant to us, what
Jennifer,
their
if
issues
you
are.
use that theory, then West Vincent residents would not be able to use Upper Euclid's roads or West Pipeland roads. It would be each township has to
This
figure it
is
out.
a country, this is a small country road where I actually have to slow down below 20 miles per hour to actually pass my neighbors because the road is that windy and narrow with steep cliffs right off either side. So you certainly don't solve the township traffic issues by opening up a small road and unwinding all the work that's been done related to our properties to this point. So to say, well, let's just open a road, it's not going to take away traffic problems. You should re-engineer 401. You should be re-engineering the major intersections. By opening up Chester Springs Road, you actually create more intersections.
It's not our road. Right now, we're trying to put pressure on our two elected officials to go through to PennDOT to try to make some hay to get those improvements we're talking about made. But PennDOT is PennDOT. We have no control over them. And they keep talking about a 12-year, well, I've heard them talking about a 12-year plan.
To program improvements.
And how far is filling in and regrading South Chester Spring Road? It's not even on their radar. Not South Chester Springs Road, I mean 401 at South Chester Springs Road. It's not even on their radar.
So they're planning on putting a four-way stop where there's 0 sight lines. So I'll tell you, you put a four-way stop in, rear-end collisions. How in the world are you going to slow people down?
Jennifer,
And
they're a
blinking-
traffic engineer in Pinoni, so traffic engineers thinks it's worth a shot with advance warning.
Do you know, the things are be blinking all day long? And is there a mile per hour restriction going on here? Because people currently go 48 plus, 50.
There was that discussion also.
Well, it just circles back to, we have certain property-specific concerns that we will bring up with Joe through our attorney that are relevant and need to be considered, along with these general interests.
I understand completely. Please. That's fine.
I'm still back at, I thought we had an agreement. And that just seems to be, well, we're going to look at that again now. And there's nothing new. So why are we opening this again? Because all the same issues that caused the decision to keep the road closed are still there.
Well, no, I think, well, at least what I remember being in some of the meetings is the idea that South Chester Springs at 401 was dangerous, so
Yeah.
that's why we closed it. Well, if PennDOT does the things that they're planning on doing to 401, then that makes the safety issue go away.
That at the intersection, but the entire road is not safe. I would actually
Well, that
invite.
road, I'm sorry, that road is not any narrower than my road, or John's road, or half the roads in our township.
Okay,
So you can't use that argument, otherwise we have to close all the roads.
I'd invite you then to travel down the road several times, passing each other several times.
It's tight,
a day.
I know. A lot of our roads are very tight. You're not the only one that has a tight road. There's a ton of them.
Ron, in answer to your question, I can only tell you what I've told you again tonight. We put together 3 townships to address issues to make West Vincent residents and other residents safer on 401. We did not agree to open that gate. Not that we can't change my mind in the future, whatever, but we did not agree to, and it would have been fine if using your logic, we would have said, go ahead, PennDOT, don't put your things in, we're gonna tear down that gate. Then we'll get the four-way stop sign. We didn't do that. There was actually, not that you matter, but there was actually discussion going on for a month and a half or 2 months about putting a roundabout down instead of a traffic light at Briars Road Briars Road and 401. It was decided that would take too long to actually get into effect. It would be a 5-year window, and traffic light, I think, is a 1.5 to 2-year window. So it's about traffic improvements on 401. Jim?
John, I have a couple of basic questions and a clarification on the land development agreement. Is this going to be discussed further, or have you already made the decision not to open it? Because that's what you told them. So is that the decision, or is there a decision?
No, any decision will be done just with us sitting in front of you. We're going to take the heat if we ever make that decision. We'll have an open discussion and decide.
And then, to Joe's question, it is a land development agreement
Is that your,
amendment.
Joe, or would you agree with what I just said?
Well, all decisions are made at some point.
But I want to clarify something, because I think Joe had an impression this was just a decision taken by supervisors at a supervisor meeting. I believe the 2013, I have a copy of it, I'm sure you do, is a land development agreement amendment to the original development plan. So what is the process for changing an amendment to a land development agreement?
Once it's dedicated, it changes it, right?
Generally, it's amendment to the plan. Generally, it's on the plan. I don't think it is on the plan. I don't think it is on the plan in this case.
Is what on the plan?
The gate.
On the 2013 agreement, it's as specific as the exact location of the gate.
Yeah.
And it's going to be at the intersection of.
On the recorded plan, I don't think there's any reference to it. I think that was after. But in any event, instead of guessing at all this, their attorney will supply to me their arguments on why we have to keep the gate. I will look it up, confirm it, argue with it, whatever. And I'll keep an open mind as to what their attorney's telling me. I mean, instead of discussing in a vacuum, get me your arguments, and I'll be more than happy to check them out.
Okay.
I have one last comment.
Sure.
To address the Crowded Road concept. South Chester Springs Road, as far as I can tell from any documents, has never been classified as a collector road. It's classified as a rural subdivision area kind of road. It's built that way. So a change of this to become a collector road, I'd like to just say that it does change it. That's to your comment that, hey, isn't this just like every other road? No, I think that we all feel this is a conversion to become a collector road, a thoroughfare between one section, one township even, through to 401. And keep in mind, it could become a thoroughfare the other direction as well. Because from this area, it now becomes the fastest way to Eagle for people in the township as well. So I don't think that was the spirit, become a collector road, a pass-through, a thoroughfare. And I think that, Joe, if you would look at that, I think you'll see
That'd be a good argument.
that is not what it used to be. As you may know, it was a very difficult rock road at one time.
The
That
classification,
went nowhere.
the classification of the road is strictly a traffic engineer's domain. I'm not going to look up that issue. I don't know whether the board's going to say yes gate or no gate. They are saying keep the gate. They're going to give you legal arguments on whether we have to keep the gate. If I agree with their arguments, then there's not much to discuss. If I disagree with their arguments, I'll give them the courtesy of letting them know why I disagree with whatever their attorney's arguments are. And we'll have a free give and take of the law and the interpretation of the law, and we'll arrive at the proper advice from the board to consider and do whatever they're going to do. I'm not gonna research, get rid of the gate or not get rid of the gate. I'm just gonna research what the options are. And they're gonna tell me why we can't. And I'm gonna keep an open mind, I'm gonna listen to your attorney, I'm gonna confirm what he's saying, and we'll go from there.
And the entire discussion is going to be public.
Not my legal advice.
No, when what you're describing.
What I'm describing for legal advice is not public.
No, but when coming to the decision.
Yes, the decision will be made right here.
It'll be an open decision, I promise you, in front of everybody. Barry, is your camera working? Okay, in front of everybody and all Barry's fans, make sure that we invite these people if there should ever be a meeting with this road is on it. Very important.
What is the definition of a collector road? I'm not
I have
familiar.
no idea.
Whether there's a gate or no gate is not the determining factor on whether it's a collector or not. It's how the road functions as to whether it's a collector. So that's not really a point that we need to get into.
Tara?
I want to go back to the very early point about part of the road not being dedicated. It's a township road up to what point? To the Rostrom's property, to the gate, to the other side of the gate? What part of it is not dedicated to the township?
The part that was improved through toll at the culvert, at the new culvert,
And
beyond
what
the
is
gate.
the township right-of-way on this side of the culvert?
I'd have to check.
If you look at the culvert, you can guess where it'd be on this side of the culvert.
I'm not going to put extra traffic on South Chester Springs Road to look at the culvert. On a nice neighborhood.
Sarah, your mother, welcome, I'll meet you over there. More than happy
I couldn't hear you.
Jennifer's inviting me
to.
to
I'm more than
see
happy
it.
to meet with her.
And my understanding of the definition of collector is that road would not meet it. Eagle Farms does. Was there an answer to the intersection of Eagle Farms and Byers? That was the third intersection on that study. Did they recommend extra signage there or anything?
No, not at this point. They,
So just with the stop sign at Eagle Farms, nothing new?
correct. An adjustment would be made if after the traffic light would be put in. But they didn't think it would be necessary.
Back to the 2013 understanding, whatever the correct term is, it was very specific on the placement of the gate.
Before you go on, let me tell Joe what Ron, I believe, is talking about is this board took some action on putting that gate in a specific spot that he's referring to, because it had been ongoing for years before then, that the gate was going to be put in and never put in.
Well, I don't know about that, but I know the agreement, I think it was page 6, section 8, says the location of the gate will be at the intersection of Eagle Farms and South Chester Springs. It moved about 100 feet.
It did.
And the Ewings have exclusive use of that land. What dictated the moving of the gate, and what agreement, I mean, did a sale take place of the land to the Ewings? If they have agreement to use it, how long? What, 100 feet of
nothing
township
like that.
land? Pardon?
First off, I can't tell you, answer your question because of time. I just don't remember. But as I recall, if you put if you closed off right there at Eagle Farms Road and South Chester Springs, you would actually need 2 turnarounds.
No.
The argument was, if you come up, if you're following a GPS and you come up Eagle Farms Road and it says South Chester Springs Road, make a right, well, where are you gonna go? You're gonna go up further Eagle Farms Road and you're gonna turn around. Well, where are you gonna turn around up there? There's no turnaround. You're gonna have to find your way all the way out to Route 100.
Yeah, eventually, when this road is closed, you remove it from GPS. If you can add roads to GPS, you can remove them. So that would be eliminated.
The 2 turnaround argument was which side of the culvert the gate is going to be on. And then we got enough research, we found out it was already determined where it was going to be. And it didn't end up there. It moved 100 feet. which brings me back to my first question. If something's agreed to in the 2013 document, and it's changed apparently arbitrarily, how does that happen?
Yeah, I have to object to the word arbitrarily. There was an engineer's report, if you recall, saying that where the gate was eventually placed was safer than where it was proposed. I don't recall what the engineer's arguments were, he's not here tonight, but it was based on our township engineer's recommendation. So it wasn't arbitrary, it was based on a professional opinion. But again, have your attorney give me all your arguments, I'm more than happy to address them. Maybe we'll agree, maybe we won't, but I'll certainly look at everything you have to say.
Okay.
Any other comments? Brian?
I got questions about the snow and ice removal bid. You know, I see that it's on the website, but when I look up for whether there's been a public notice about that, I don't see anything at all about that. Has it been published?
No, it hasn't. No.
So officially, it's not in play then, correct?
No, you're correct, Brian.
Okay. On the current one, did our solicitor go and look at that?
No.
Okay. Because I looked at it and I looked at the 2016 bid to see what the difference is. You said you had made some changes. And, you know, looking at it, it looks like the big changes have been that the last 2 pages about snow removal contract specifications was dropped off of there. You know, to me, I look at some of that stuff and, yeah, okay, I can see why it went away. Other stuff, yeah, it could have been useful, but hey, it's your call. And so we're down to basically the PennDOT equipment rental specification. And on that document, it says there's a 10% performance bond required. I did some calcs on that because this has come back up as an issue before. That if I assumed that we had an hourly cost of $100 an hour, we've got $450,000 potential expenditure, $45,000 bond. And when it came up the last time, I believe it was that John argued or stated, because I said, you know, hey, there's no performance bond on it, we ask all these other times. And John said, yeah, it's not necessary because no work is guaranteed by this contract.
Yeah.
But now we wanted a potential $45,000 bond. Have we even spent that much in a year for rental equipment?
Just, this is not the final form. So this was a draft. So I'm still working through changes. So there will be a new one for review. In regards to expenditures for snow removal, getting up to about 45,000, we've got to have a winter like, what, 3 years ago, we had to get reimbursement for expenses.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be an example.
Well, my point on that one is just that, you know, maybe come up with more realistic value rather than, I believe that 10% value comes from some other PennDOT verbiage,
Sure.
This is what you're supposed to be doing. But going back now to the first page, which I compared the 2016 and the 2017,
Yeah.
and they are identical with the exception of the first paragraph
Correct.
where he changed the dates.
Correct.
And reading on that, it says that the bidders must bid on all items. Then, about 1 paragraph down, it says, the township may be divided into sections for this work. The contract may therefore be awarded to 1 or more contractors at the discretion of the Board of Supervisors. So we could possibly have 3 contractors, each of which has the full complement of equipment that, that's necessary to bid on this because they've got to have everything. Bidders must be bid on all items. And then we're going to go and split that work up amongst 3 parts of the township. You know, and I look at that and I go, you know,
I agree with you.
it doesn't make sense. Last year, the vendor that you were finally able to go and beat the bushes and find, did they have all that equipment?
Yes, they have a lot of equipment, but I see what you're saying, and that's up, and that was a draft, and we're working through it. So those comments, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, Ryan. That's not the final form.
Okay, so we're gonna go and revise it yet again?
Oh, this isn't even the fully revised version, so we just have to be on the same page, yeah.
Then how did
It's
it get-
not.
Then how did it
Is that
get,
the bids?
how did it get onto the township website?
Okay.
Then I'm really confused. Last meeting,
Right,
they went and, authorized this to be advertised, et cetera.
right.
We've got a document on the township website that's not final, which it sounded like last meeting it was final. And we haven't advertised it yet either.
It's not advertised, it's just up, and it'll be removed, and it's fine. Staff were not around last week, and we're gonna catch up, it's fine. It's gonna be revised. What was posted there is not advertised, and it's gonna be revised.
But we did vote on.
Right, correct.
approving
It's something
adver-
to be done. Yeah,
But we
it does.
approved the advertising of what we were reading in our book.
Subject to, I was gonna report back on changes I would like to make.
Okay.
Yeah.
Says it in these minutes.
So I guess,
Yes.
I guess from Brian's point, it should just say draft maybe?
Sure, yeah.
Well,
That's
I
fine.
really don't have a beef if it said draft. But the other thing is, you guys authorized this to be advertised.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounded like from what you said last time, that, hey, I've got some changes in here, we're in good shape on
Right.
it, fine. And then it just fell off into a hole and did get advertised.
Not at all.
And now it's gonna go and be modified.
It hasn't been advertised.
No,
It
no.
hasn't been advertised, so she can modify it, but she still has the authorization of the board
Right.
to advertise it.
Yeah.
But last meeting, it sounded like we were ready to rock and roll. We
Well,
made the push that
no.
we're gonna do this earlier this year so that
Yeah.
we've got the potential for more bidders.
That's right. Yeah, we're in good shape, right? It's just that I think that it was, okay, this is ready to go, and I had expressed to staff that I needed more time. That's what happened. So, we're all in good shape as far as timing, so we're gonna get it out. And I'm gonna inform the board what those changes are. I certainly will, so.
That's what the minutes say.
Yeah, it does go back.
The board
Thanks.
determined it was all right with any changes as long as they would be forwarded to them.
Yeah, because I think you did get a copy of it updated, it said 2017-18 season, and I said that I looked at it and I wanted to have time to review it further.
Regardless, we can beat this over that, it hasn't been advertised, so it can be modified. She knows it's gonna be modified, she's gonna modify it and then advertise it, so.
And if we're throwing something on the website, can at least say draft?
I'll check it out.
Okay.
Thanks.
Any other comments? Yes.
What's the status of the sale of the Griffith Farm property, the small parcel?
The status is, the tenant has been notified that it's gonna have to vacate, and there's no date set for that, so that's where that sits.
But you're moving towards the sale.
Yeah, well, yes.
Okay, thanks. How about the purchase of the 72 acres from NLT? Is that moving forward?
Joe is negotiating with the National Lands Trust as we speak, for
Have
the
you-
sale, agreement of sale, is that correct?
Yes.
And is it for 72 acres?
Yes.
So you've turned down Mr. Dewey's offer?
No.
No.
Are
We
you
have not
seriously?
made a decision on Mr.
Are
A
you
decision like
seriously-
that will be done here in the board, just like every other
Are
decision.
you seriously considering it?
We're going to discuss it at a future meeting
In public?
in public.
Do we have any idea how soon?
Say that again?
How soon that future meeting might be?
Hopefully August 7th.
You notice there's one of us missing.
I know, and Joe won't be here on August 7th.
It's a perfect night to do it.
I'm thinking we'd be missing you, Joe. Okay, one more. Horseshoe Road paving, is it going to start on a date foreseeable?
We have our pre-construction meeting this week, so I'll have more. I have to talk with them about their schedule, so they'll know.
Okay, and at the minute said, you said in a couple of weeks, the covered bridge might be opening in a few weeks. Is it still a few weeks?
Yeah, I have several calls into PennDOT, so I'm waiting back on a variety of information. So I don't have that.
Okay.
I tried for tonight, I did.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
I'll quit now.
Any other non-agenda items? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote to end this meeting? No. Motion to end this meeting?
No. Let's keep it going.
Who's more? I'll make the motion that we end
I
this
move
meeting.
that the meeting is adjourned.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you for